What's up, guys? We have all kinds of Thursday NHL picks ready for you. Sides, totals, team totals, props, all kinds of good stuff right here on PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Myself, Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco. We've got Bryan Leonard, and of course, we've got Don Julio Buster. Is that his middle name, Carm? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
How are you, Carm?
I'm good, man. I went to sleep last night. I wasn't feeling good. I went to sleep figuring I was 1-1 in the NHL. I woke up and I was 2-0 in the NHL. Kind of like Matt J says in the chat there. Chicago, Vancouver, a no sweat over. I had over 6. It was no score after 40 minutes. And then somehow they found 7 goals while I was sleeping. Maybe I'm a mush and I just needed to go to sleep.
Can't watch the
in
overs,
order
man.
for that play to win. I'm going to try it this week. Dan Alexander, our beloved and fearless leader and producer, is going to give me his 5 circa picks, and I'm going to sleep throughout all 5 games, and he's going to go 5-0. So we need to get him that quarter win. So he makes $150K, and he's happier than a pig in mud. But other than that, man, it is we got a good card of games, guys, to talk about today. The Wild and the Canes. Andrew, you and I are going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Buster is going to come on and do the Ducks and the Stars. You and I will break down Tampa and Vegas, and then we'll bring in Bryan Leonard to get his quick thoughts on that game before he breaks down the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres. He picked the marquee game of the night, the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres, to somehow discuss. I don't know if he lost a bet and said, okay, I'm going to have to do this game. Same game parlay and a pod play as it returns today. But with that said, Andrew, what are we starting off?
My night last night. I got to talk
What?
about my night a little bit here.
Oh, talk.
It's all right. It's all
We
right.
got plenty of time, man.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
How did you do?
I went 2-0-1. And Carm, we always talk about that dreaded 4-1 lead when you have an over. And this is why I always like to play team totals. So I had the over 6 in the Calgary game, and it was 4-1. So at that point, I was just happy it didn't lose, because you and I always talk about how cursed that 4-1 lead can be. And of course, they still got an empty net goal, which I was shocked about, getting an empty net goal when they're up 4-1. So I hit the Washington Capitals team total over 3.5 halfway through the game, plus 122. We got the Chicago Blackhawks at a nice price. I think plus 130 ballpark, which is kind of nice against Vancouver. And that push is never really a nice thing, but it's not a loss. So you take it. It's better than a loss, right? The push.
And
but
if you,
that 4-1 lead, man, it's never good with overs.
Yeah, one of my good friends is in Vegas with his wife for her birthday for 4 days. And he's been like WhatsApping me, asking me for like some plays. So I gave him a couple plays along the way. And he messaged me and says, seriously, the Calgary Flames? You're taking the Calgary Flames? How are they favored? I'm like, I released them to my clients at 117. I think they get the win tonight. And I hope that Nazem Kadri scores as well, too, because it was like his 1,000th game. And of course, he scores a goal. They win pretty comfortably. It's really weird with this Calgary team. They win games 5-1, and then they get blown out in some games. They're a hard team to figure out, but I had them figured out yesterday. And then Ovechkin, man, our guy Wash Redskins is going to come into the chat and say, how do you not talk about Ovechkin? 900 goals. The first player ever to score 900 goals in the NHL, and probably will go down as the only player who ever scores 900 goals in the NHL. This guy has been a machine his whole career. Congratulations, Ovi. Absolutely fantastic, man. If this guy could last like another 3 years somehow, like kind of like the Jaromir Jagr effect over in Europe, he could hit 1,000 goals. It's possible.
Yeah. Will he get there?
Unlikely, but possible. He could get there. So we'll see.
Did you see what Binnington did, Carm? Did you see what
Binnington trying to snipe the puck? No one has talked to Binnington about it. Everyone is like, yeah, he tried to steal the puck. Marty Baron was on Sportsnet. He's like, oh, and former goalie for the Buffalo Sabres. He's like, oh yeah, he was trying to. He's definitely trying to steal the puck. He probably wanted to. When people talk about Ovechkin's 900th goal, it's going to go. he'll show them the puck that's in his, his basement on a trophy stand or what have you. I don't get it. It's a milestone goal. You give it to Ovechkin, and
It wasn't really a nice
made
goal.
him pay. The Caps made him pay for trying to snipe that puck. They scored a couple more goals on him and chased him from the game. So what goes around comes around. But congratulations to Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. And Andrew, the weird thing is I'm watching the goalie matchups for tonight because the Penguins, who Washington plays tonight, they called up Sergei Murashov. So he's playing for them down in the minors at AHL. He was AHL goaltender, 5-2 record, 173 goals against average, 931 save percentage down in the minors. He might be ready. He's being called up. Tristan Jarry is on injured reserve, so it's going to be either him or Shilovs. Did I pronounce that right? Shilovs? Yeah, Shilovs. So we'll see who goes for them. Any thoughts before we get to this Canes game?
Well, I hope it's Shilovs, because that guy right now, Carm, Shilovs, he seems to be, he's the Forrest Gump box of chocolates metaphor. Like he is one goalie one day and one goalie the next, but he's kind of a hot and cold guy. So I kind of hope, look, this is the thing, is that people are going to talk about that celebratory night for Washington, the Alexander Ovechkin milestone. Oh, well, they're going to be having too many beers and celebrating. Alexander Ovechkin probably has beers every night before he plays a game at this age. Okay. He always, we've heard the stories. The way I look at it is the team hadn't played since Saturday. They've been well rested. They had a couple bad games in a row. Look, it's hard for us to keep fading this Pittsburgh team, but I think that we're going to see Washington start rolling here. And I'll tell you what, Binnington, he's got to be frustrated, because remember when he went to the Four Nations, the goalie he looked like in that overtime, Carm, all those saves, we were cheering for Canada so hard. Where is that guy? Well, it's like I was talking on my show last night about it. Is like, it's no secret that some of the better goalies in the league seem to play on the best teams, and the worst goalies in the league seem to play on the worst teams. Like, that's why we use analytics, because Darcy Kemper won a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche. All right. I think any goalie in the league would have won that year with the Avalanche. No offense to him, but it doesn't mean because Binnington's numbers aren't good this year, it doesn't mean he's not a good goalie anymore. He's just on a bad team right now.
I don't know. Sounds like you took a shot at him right there, Darcy Comfort. But with that said, we got to go. We had a lot of stuff on the show, but I will say this: my parting shot, which is probably going to piss off a few people in the chat, and I get it. It's okay. This is what I'm here for, to stir it up. My buddy Corey, who's in Vegas right now, I gave him some cash before he left. He went to Circa and he put down a bet for me at Circa, because plus 170, I couldn't give it up. I just could not pass it up. Team Canada to win the gold medal at the Olympics, plus 170. Guys, come on. Let's get real here. No one is beating the Canadian team in the Olympics. It should be, and I hope it is, a U.S.-Canada final, but nobody is beating the Canadians. You guys lift the Stanley Cup each and every year because 55% of your rosters are Canadian players. So with that said, I think I've pissed everybody off. Hit that like button. Andrew, Canes 192, the Wild plus 156. The total sits here at 6.5. How are you playing this one?
I love the way you ended that. I think I pissed off enough people. It's time to move on to get to the games here. I like it. Well, look, Carolina coming into this one off a pretty dominant win over the Rangers, 3-0, shutting them out. And this Rangers team just looks awful at home. Can we even talk about it being a good victory for the Hurricanes if this Rangers team just continuously puts up donuts at home? They've looked just abysmal. But this Hurricanes team is going to take this game seriously, because you look at their loss against the Bruins 2-1, their loss against the Knights 6-3. They lost against the Stars. This has been an up and down team, but they've also had a pretty tough schedule, I'd say, over their last 5 to 6 games. Overall, this season, it hasn't really been the easiest start to the schedule for this Carolina Hurricanes team. Now, when I look at Minnesota, if we're betting straight up just on current form, this team has not been playing up to expectation. But if you care about just the W's and you don't care about who a team has defeated, you look at the Minnesota Wild, they have found a way in their last 2 games, putting up 5 on the Canucks and getting it done against Nashville in overtime. Now, when I look at this game here, Carm, I think that we all know how great this team is over there in Carolina. The question I kind of ask ourselves here is this price a little bit too high when I look at this number? Like, you're going to tell me I'm going to get plus 155, plus 160 on a team like Minnesota here. I think this is a ultimate buy low spot. Look, Carolina has been struggling a little bit with their consistency levels. They're dealing with injuries with Seth Jarvis being out. They have some defensive issues as well. Minnesota has a lot of ground to make up. And I know we're talking November 6th right now. There's lots of time left in this season for them to make up. But I'm going to start the show off with a little bit of a live dog here. I think Minnesota is in this game. And if you think it's going to be a competitive game, you take the plus 160. So Carolina is not an easy place to play by any means. But Minnesota has not met expectations this season. And then they go ahead and rattle off 2 victories. And before anybody beats me to it, I get it. They have not beat the most exciting teams by any means. I'm not going to. Vancouver and Nashville. Look, me, you, and Dan could score a goal on Nashville. But at the end of the day, this is still a win. And this is still your friend momentum. And I think that's going to carry into this game for Minnesota. And maybe they stay competitive. So maybe you pull the plus 1.5 number here, the plus 1. Half bet on that plus 1.5, half bet on the money line, maybe a team total, whatever it might be. But I do think Minnesota, it's definitely kind of a buy low spot here on this team. So I've tried taking more underdogs this season. We cashed the underdog yesterday on Chicago. We got D Money in here telling me to never fade the Hurricanes at home. And I think that is certainly baked into the cake here with this number. And that's why I'm getting plus 160, Carm. So I'm interested in this price here on the dog, and hopefully Minnesota can keep playing better hockey.
Yeah, first off, I think I pissed off TJ Salvador. He's like, much like your customer appreciation play on Tuesday, my plus 170 on Canada is toast. Well, TJ, sometimes you are the hammer, sometimes you are the nail. I've been the hammer more times than I've been the nail in the NHL season this year, so I will take that. But Andrew, I get it. I understand the deal with the Wild. They've won 3 of the last 4 meetings against Carolina in Carolina. But I think the Canes Canes were playing well, but they were allowing a lot of goals. And they did the same thing last season. If you look at Carolina's start last season, their first 12 to 14 games, they were allowing a lot of goals and then started to put it together, started to tighten up. Their last 3 games, they've allowed a total of 4 goals. They've gone 2-1. They lose the 2-1 game in Boston. That is the only loss. They're 3-1 at home on the season. And the Wild, they've lost 4 of their last 5 on the road. It's hard for me to make a case on the Wild unless you want to look at like back data and say, okay, well, the Wild have won 3 of the last 4 games in Colorado, in Carolina. Maybe Carolina takes them lightly. Do I want to lay the 192? I don't, because it's out of my price range, and my clients know that that's out of my price range. I would take the Canes in regulation. You can get them at anywhere from 120 to 130. I've looked at different books overnight and this morning, and you can get them there, and I'll explain that during my pod at the end of the show, Andrew. So that said, Canes in regulation for me, and we're going to bring on, as you call him, Don Julio to talk the Ducks and the Stars. There he is. He's not even wearing red. He didn't even do the top button on of his shirt. He thinks he's like Don Johnson in Miami Vice or whatever. Button up that shirt. No one needs
what am I supposed to do? Button it right up? Come on.
Come on, man.
I'm getting ready for Mexico, Carmine.
You haven't been to Mexico in months.
Canada, and we're expecting snow. We're expecting snow on Sunday, so it's a good time for you to get out, Andrew. Or sorry,
I agree.
Buster, how you doing, first of all?
Yeah, doing well, Carmine, doing well. Everything's fine per se, except for I'm still in Canada. But besides that, that's, sometimes life doesn't let you do everything you want to do right away. But soon enough, December 1st, we're hoping to be back in Mexico. So.
Yeah, well, as part of the free trade agreement between Canada and Mexico, we are shipping you down there, and we're just taking back a box of avocados in return. I think that's a great deal.
I think it is too, for sure.
Dallas Stars minus
1 year player option. You can sign back next summer if you want.
Okay, thanks.
The Dallas Stars minus 181, the Ducks plus 148, the exciting Ducks plus 148. Total sits here at 6. Are the Stars shooting Ducks in this one, or are we feasting on? I don't know where I'm going here. Just give us a winner.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
Who do you like? Who do you like, Buster? Who do you
Yeah.
like?
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for leaving me hanging there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna let Carm bury himself here. It's okay.
No, I was enjoying it, actually, tell you the truth. But okay, the Ducks are definitely playing, and they're playing some great hockey, and they're the definite surprise of the NHL this year. No doubt about that. They're on a 6-1 run, and it's not like they're beating like the lower teams of the NHL. They beat the Stanley Cup champions twice. They beat a very good Detroit team, I believe, and very impressive win against the New Jersey Devils. Now, Dallas are also playing probably their best hockey this season, but it seems like they play enough to win. 4 of their last 7 games have actually gone to overtime, including we had the crapshoot winner on Tuesday with Dallas. And again, what we're doing today, and I'll get to it, is that we're going to take that crapshoot right out of it. Don't like the coin flips in the NHL. So, but I'm just going to run a few little stats here. In 13 games that Dallas has played this year, they have won only 1 game by 2 goals. Anaheim, they have only lost 2 games by 2 goals. And that was right. One was the first game of the year, and one was like 2 games after that. This Anaheim team has been playing great hockey ever since. So last night, and I don't do this, I don't know. I bet you in all the years on the show, if I've done this a handful of times, and even all season, just don't like to, because you have to lay juice here. But we got last night Anaheim on the puck line minus 145. So we gave that right away out to clients. I think that's a really good play. Right now, I see there's been a lot of people this morning thinking the same idea as me, because Anaheim is getting bet. They're getting bet on the money line. They're getting bet on the puck line. But you can still find it around 155, 160 the last time I looked. So that will be my play for this game is Anaheim. We actually do. Like I said, we actually can see Anaheim winning this game, but we also believe this is going to be it could end up going to that coin flip again, the way these 2 teams have been playing. So, and we want to take that out of there. So we will play Anaheim plus 1.5 on the puck line. As for the total, of course, we'll go through that. I find this very similar as Tuesday's game, as we talked about that. Because all over the place, I know Carmine mentioned it was 6 over 20, I believe. I see 6 over 25, but I also see a lot of markets with 6.5 under 30. So as I said, Tuesday, you want to bet accordingly, depending on whether you like the over or the under. Now, Anaheim has been really a goal-scoring machine. They actually are number 1 in the NHL in goals scored per game. Now, Ottinger will be back in net tonight after he had a little baby there, I guess. And even though the last 2 games went over for the Stars, they went 7 games before that to the under. So there's that to think about. When these clubs get together, the last 9 games are 6-3 to the under. But I really like the way this Anaheim team's playing. I guess it'll come down to, if you want to bet this total, do you think Anaheim will take their type of game to Dallas? Or will Dallas, being at home with that last change, take their game to Anaheim? If you like Dallas to do that, it's an under. If you like Anaheim to open this up and have Dallas play open hockey, it's an over. For us, got to pass. It's just really tough total to bet. We pass the total, and we will take Anaheim plus a goal and a half on the puck line.
All right. Love to hear it to Buster and wish you obviously the best of luck. Buster, it is the semifinals of the Grey Cup. Are you putting on that leather helmet of yours from when you played back in the 40s and going to watch the game?
Actually, it's funny you say that because of life getting involved. Unfortunately, our good friend, Mr. Rob Braley, was kind enough to invite me to a private suite for the Hamilton Tiger Cats game. But unfortunately, other obligations had me passing. But I believe I will have 3 plays on these games coming up. Very looking forward to the CFL playoffs, and the Grey Cup will be in Winnipeg on the 16th of November. So yes, definitely will not bring out the brown helmet, but I might have needed it if I went to that private box with Mr. Braley. That's for sure.
It is very nice of him to invite you to a private box. I'm just checking my cell phone here, and I don't see like a single message from him or text message inviting me. But
I have known the guy
right now.
Yeah. I have known the guy for about 40 years, Carmine. So maybe I I know I'm not much up on you. That's for sure. Not anymore. Now that you won him all that big U.S. money back a couple years ago. So so you are a little bit ahead of me. But I'm kind of shocked that he didn't call you. Maybe he thought you had a TFC game to go to or something.
Yep. I order him a case of scotch that you can't get in Canada, but before I deliver that, it's going to have a Grey Cup fee attached to it. Buster, what do you have to promote at WagerTalk?
Yeah, Carmine, thank you. I've got a 4% NHL best bet. Probably my favorite play tonight. Just missed being a big play, but there was a couple parameters that just didn't allow me to make it a 5% play. Really like that play tonight. We're on a nice 4% run. Just a little one, hitting about 80% on these 4% NHL plays of late. So you can go over to the site, Don Buster, and check that out. Also, we have that weekend warrior pass for all the cappers is still going. A great deal when you're betting football. If you guys are football bettors, which most of you probably are, you get all the college and NFL for Saturday and Sunday for only $49. And I think they even throw in Monday Night Football too. If any of the cappers are playing that, that's a great deal. And they also have you can get the rest of the NFL and the rest of college football for a great price, all the way to the Super Bowl, all the way to the national championship, only $4.95. So a lot of great specials going on at WagerTalk. Go over, grab our 4% NHL best bet for tonight. You'll be glad you did. And as always, guys, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, Buster.
Always love having you on, Buster. Safe travels back to Mexico for you. We look forward to having you on the show with that Pablo Escobar Wi-Fi that you have each and every year where we can barely hear you. But with that said, dude, have a great weekend, and we'll talk later, man.
You guys as well. Take care, guys.
Andrew, we got Bryan coming up next, but before that, you and I are going to talk Vegas, and then we'll bring him in and get his thoughts on the game as well too. Someone had asked, am I taking that first period Vegas over? I'm not too sure on this one because Tampa isn't lighting it up as of late. Minus 130 for Vegas, plus 108 for Tampa. I want to take Tampa in this game. I'm trying to find an excuse not to take Tampa Bay in this game. Plus 108. I like him in this spot. Andrew, convince me that I should not be taking Tampa Bay in this spot.
I can't convince you because I like Tampa too. And I don't really want to convince you the other way. So I'd prefer to just keep backing the side that we both like in this one. Look, when it comes down to it here with this Tampa Bay Lightning team, number one, I've started to be a little more impressed with them lately. We've seen them really, really pick it up. And don't get me wrong. We know they're on the road. We know this team has kind of a tough start to the season and they're in kind of cruise control right now. beating the Ducks, beating the Golden Knights in the last meeting, beating the Preds, beating the Stars, beating the Mammoth. But as far as this road trip is concerned, you start that off with a win against the Mammoth, but you drop that game against the Avalanche. This is going to be a motivated Lightning team here. And I'll tell you what, you've got a Vegas team coming off a game, Carm, that even though it was 1-0, that was about the easiest, most walk through, skate behind your back with your hands and don't even try all game long. This game that they played against the Red Wings, if John Gibson didn't stand on his head, it would have been 5-0 Vegas. I think that you're going to catch the Lightning being the more motivated team here. And I know the Lightning are playing well right now, but they want to get back up there at the top of that Atlantic Division standings. And road trips are where you do it. Road trips are where you can bank those points. And when I go over to the trusty sites at Money Puck or at Natural Stat Trick or some of these great websites that we like to use, I look at the goal differential and I like what I'm seeing from this Tampa Bay Lightning team. The thing is with this Tampa team, it's not like their expected goals for have been that standout for me this season. It's been the expected goals against that I've been the most impressed with this season. They're number 4 in expected goals against. And Vegas is right there next to them. But if you combine this Vegas offense right now with their defense, how they're playing, with the goaltending stepping up a little bit, I like them as an underdog. And I like a lot of underdogs actually on today's slate. And I feel like this is one that I'm going to back. I feel like the past couple games for Vegas, even though the scores might not indicate it, and maybe we can get Brian's take. I don't feel like this Golden Knights team has been challenged that much. And the funny thing is they've been playing against really good teams. I feel like this is a team that's probably going to come in and I think outwork the Golden Knights. They're coming off a smooth victory against the Detroit Red Wings. I like this spot for Tampa.
Yeah, they've been playing. They started the season pretty much inconsistent, but you look at some of their games when they put together that 5-game win streak, and they beat a Ducks team 4-3. Then they beat the Vegas Golden Knights in OT. So some people might be looking at, and we always talk about it like the rapid revenge spot in Vegas, turning the tables on them. But then they allow 2 to Nashville, 1 to Dallas, and then a couple to Utah, who've been lighting it up as well too. And when you lose one, it wasn't a bad one. It was to the Colorado Avalanche in Colorado, where the Avs are a very good team. And you lose that game 3-2. You go back to that game in Tampa Bay between Vegas and Tampa Bay, and the analytics for that one pretty much matched the final score. Final score was 2-1. Analytics in that game were 2.9 expected goals for Tampa, 1.7 for Vegas in all situations. So with that said, they were full marks for the win, and I don't mind taking plus 108 here. They were favored in that game at home. You're getting them a plus 108 here. 2 very good teams. I could see the Tampa sweep over the Vegas Golden Knights, but we'll get the final word from none other than Mr. Golden Knight himself, the shot of Bailey's in everyone's coffee, Brian Leonard.
I'm wondering why Andrew is wearing a camouflage shirt against a white background. We can still see you.
Yeah. I was hoping you couldn't.
Yes.
I was hoping that maybe you had a Buster's old background right behind you, and then that would have freaked Carmine out something awful.
Yeah, God.
My background has been so boring these couple weeks here, Brian. I had to spice it up a little bit here with at least what I got going on.
It makes me think he's in a penitentiary or something, and they allow him like an hour to do shows and stuff, right? So it's just like, all right, get back to yourself.
Getting back to the hockey game, we've been having a lot of fun on the show. I've seen that you've done that so far, but I prefer the under in this game. And one of the reasons is if you've watched the Knights when their starting goalie has been out, and I found out today he's going to continue to be out for a while. They've got 2 young goalies, but they've been very good. And when you have to protect your goalies, you're less inclined to try to score goals. Andrew talked about this on the game that they played the other day against Detroit. Once Vegas got that lead, that 1-0 lead, you knew, well, you didn't know, but you had a pretty good feeling that they were not going to give up any goals the rest of the way. And I think that's the way this is going to be played. It's very similar to the way that first game in Tampa was played. It was a 2-1 overtime win for Tampa, and both teams played excellent defense. I would expect more of that today. It's come down to 5.5 at a few places, but you can still catch 6 at a lot of places. And 7 goals to beat you with these two defenses. You had mentioned to Carmine how good these teams have been on expected goals against. That, to me, is the way to play this game. Vegas is playing with rapid revenge from that road trip that they did not play well in. And they've got Florida coming up again this week. And that's the other team they lost to on that road trip. So I spy a lot of low-scoring games here in Vegas during this run. They got Anaheim, I believe, coming up this weekend, another team playing really, really good hockey. So I expect defense to be the key tonight in that game.
All right. Bryan with his thoughts to close up the Tampa and Vegas game. And you're going to break down one of the best games of the night, the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres favored. Yes, the Sabres are favored 136 plus 112 is the take back on the Blues. The total sits here at a juicy 6.5. How are you playing this one?
I appreciate all your excitement you gave everybody by telling them I had the worst game to talk about, but I don't care what game we're talking about as we can make some money. And I think this is a good chance to make some money here. I've had a nice idea about St. Louis this week. I played them at home the other day against Edmonton, got the win. Played against them yesterday in Washington, got the win. I think I got another winner for them here. St. Louis Blues, if you take a look at the teams in the NHL, the teams with the worst goal differential, it's the St. Louis Blues, and it's not even close. The next closest is Calgary at -13. St. Louis is -21. Yet they played 8 games at home and only 6 games on the road. They're coming off that game yesterday, the exciting game in Washington. And Bennington, I thought he did it as a joke. I don't know him personally. It was funny. He made the national news. It's good for hockey, regardless of the reason why he did it. But they did pull him early in that game. He did not play well, so I would expect him to still be on the ice. But he's not the same goalie as Andrew mentioned that he has been in the past. St. Louis's defense has been horrendous on the season. They've given up 59 goals in 14 games. The next closest is 54? So yeah, they've just been terrible defensively. Now they're going on the road in the second of a back-to-back situation. And I believe it's their third game in 4 days as well. Yes, it is. And then they get to come home and play 4 games back at St. Louis. They play Seattle, Calgary, Philadelphia, and the Vegas Knights. A very good chance for them to win 3 of those 4 games and get back into the talk of possibly making the playoffs. But this team, if you remember last year, they struggled early on, and they got hot at the end, and they were a dangerous team. They make the playoffs, and they're a dangerous team. And it's very much similar to that. I don't trust the St. Louis team right now. When they won 2 days ago, they were playing with a 7-game losing streak. Edmonton was coming in. Edmonton had done nothing on the road, not played well, and we got that victory. Then they played Washington. Washington completely dominated them yesterday. And to expect them to compete here, I just don't agree with it. Buffalo is only down 2 net goals on the season. They're playing much better now than they had in the past. You go back Buffalo's last 10 games, they've only lost 1 game in regulation. This team is slowly, and they're sort of like Andrew's shirt. Nobody sees them right now. They're a camouflage, and I think there's a lot of value on them here going against a team in a back-to-back bad situation. After this game for Buffalo, they got to go on the road and play Carolina, Utah, Anaheim, Colorado, and Detroit. This is a must-win game for the Buffalo Sabres. And Buffalo in a must-win situation over the years, probably not been that good. You would know more than us on that regarding Carmine, but I think this is just a really good spot. It was at 125 yesterday before the game had played, the overnight look ahead. Now you're getting it. You can still catch a couple 125s, but the most that's gone up is 135 off of a loss. This is a good spot for Buffalo. I'm going to lay it with the host here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bryan. You know, the staple for the Blues has always sort of been their defense is very good, and that helps the goalies. But I don't think it has been, and it's been a dismal season for Binnington and Hofer. It's showing Hofer like as expected for tonight. I don't know if that changes just because Binnington got pulled last night. It remains to be seen. But you talked about like the 3 games in 4 nights. There's no confidence right now in betting the Blues. You just don't see anything that makes you on. You're either on Buffalo or you're off the game. If you can come up for a reason, Andrew, can you come up with a reason to play the St. Louis Blues tonight? I certainly can't.
I mean, the only reason you could look at it is that they couldn't have looked shittier through the first 40 minutes of that game. So if you're someone that likes to take bounce back spots, that would be one to look at. Like a lot of times, we would say some athletes would rather correct their mistakes the next night on the second half of a back-to-back than have to sit and stew for the next 4 nights and not play a game. So some guys do like to use that motivation and anger and just be able to get right back on track the next night. So that's really the only thing I could say. I'm right there. I agree with the Buffalo side in this one. I talked about it on my show last night, and I was kind of thinking that same Buffalo side. And the only thing, if I was to not get there, would be the quotes out of Braden Shen, the captain of St. Louis Blues. He pretty much went to the media and it was the ultimate own up to everything. Yeah, we were awful. We were embarrassing. We were pathetic. We owe it to the owners. We owe it to the coaches. We owe it to the fans. So the only thing is, though, guys, when a player says that, you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't really mean it's going to reflect on the score sheet and into the game the next day. So my 2 cents, I think we're going to get some goals in this game. I just don't think that they have it in them to make it a low-scoring game. If they're going to show any kind of pride, they're going to score some goals. But I don't think it's going to stop Buffalo from scoring. That's kind of and Hofer in that. I like the over. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and we have confirmed this as far as the Sabres are concerned. We have, I see confirmation it's UPL in net, or as TJ Salvatore says, can Carm pronounce his name? Of course I can pronounce Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Yeah, man. I can pronounce some of them. It's some of the other names, the Russian ones or the whatever that I completely butcher. But come on, man. UPL, I'm good with. Bryan,
don't get on Carm's bad side. Come on, DJ. Come on, man.
Nice little run for you, and you got a 5% play up in the NHL tonight. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we're on a nice run, 24-11 in college football. I went to Akron University. I know the MAC the last 2 days, gave out MAC plays. Toledo yesterday, huge, easy winner. Both games were easy winners. I had Washington, obviously, in that game. 5% play going today in the NHL. It's a game that I really like the situation on, and I think we're getting tremendous value in it. Very similar to the play I just used with Buffalo. So that's up there right now. I mentioned the college football. Obviously, Buster talked about that, so I won't get back into it. But real excited about the weekend. It's been a terrific run for us overall. 4 straight in the NHL this week. Number 1 the last 3 days. I think number 2 the last 7. Everything's going really well. Cannot complain at all, but a big 5% going in the NHL today. And I'm seeing things very clearly, as they say. And I was still able to find Andrew in that shirt. So, yeah, everything's going very well.
You don't want to hear me sing. I was when you said I'm seeing things clearly now, I was going to get into that song. Yeah. I can see clearly now.
I'm not trying to take any shots at people's geography, but when I say I lived in the east coast of Canada, this is how people seem to think that we live. And I live in an igloo, and I have an animal driving me around on a sled, and I hunt for my food. So I might as well start playing the part. nobody thinks that East Coast of Canada there's any type of civilization, and this is how we dress every day. So I might as well start trying to play the part here. I got camo pants, camo underwear. I'll wear a camo hat. I might as well start trying to fit the stereotype here of an Eastern Canadian.
As our beloved Missy in the Detroit office says, Andrew lives in Narnia. So way out there where we just don't know what is going on. But I Bryan, for the life of me, and you're different. Before I let you go, no, not different in the sense of different, but as far as like food goes, Andrew lives on the East Coast. On the East Coast, how does a guy who lives on the East Coast not like seafood and lobster? Like literally, you can reach out of your window while you're driving near the water and pick up a lobster off the side of the road. It is unbelievable how a guy on the East Coast does not eat lobster.
I have never been to that part of Canada. I'd love to go. What months can you wear shorts where you live right now?
Bryan, I will tell you, we probably have less snow and less cold weather than where Carm and Prez live.
Oh, okay.
It's just more wind and rain and stuff like. I'd almost prefer snow than like the slush and rain, because we're right along the coast, right? So we don't get as much heavy snow. So it's probably the same as Carm, I would say. But it just started to click. Carm will agree with me. It just started to click where it's just cold now. Like it's not like it's horrible, but it went from like, oh, you can wear shorts and a hoodie to you have to wear a big jacket walking around. So I am the first to tell you, I love where I'm from, but I hate being cold, and that will never change. And Carm, I got to ask you, because we're getting off topic, but I got to ask, do you think it's possible for me to be able to change that? Like, I actually, trust me, I want it. Like every year at family reunions, like we have all the tables set up, and I just cannot. I don't like lobster. I don't like crab. Do you think it's possible for me to eventually get there? Like,
absolutely. My youngest brother, when I got married, I rented. I flew a bunch of people down to Atlantis in the Bahamas, and we got married there on the beach, Paradise Beach, and we had an outdoor buffet. I had them grilling lobster tails. My brother had never eaten lobster before. He was my best man. I said, you got to try the lobster. He tried it and then ended up eating like 6 lobster tails. They weren't huge, but he ate 6 of them, and now he eats lobster. So there you go. With that said, Bryan, best of luck on your 5% play.
See you, Bryan.
And we will move on, and we will see you next week on PuckTime. So I appreciate it. Andrew, the Prez, he'll be away all of next week. So it's going to make some of those people on the show in the chat happy. Bryan will be doing double duty. Prez also has a 5% play. He asked me to mention it. I don't know what the play is, but you can head over to WagerTalk and pick it up on his page and give him some support. He's started to turn his NHL season around, as he says, and he's on a nice little run. So best of luck to him. My pod play, Andrew, and then I will send it over to you for a same game parlay and to close out the show, or else we're going to run over Andy Lang in WagerTalk today. My pod is going to go back to that Canes game. I like the Canes. I don't want to lay 192. I'm going to take them to win in regulation. I think they're starting to play better. They're a very good team at home until the Wild sort of turned their season around. I just can't see a reason why the Wild are a live bet at plus 156. I'm taking the Canes in regulation minus 120, and that's basically about they're all flat $200 bets, so that's 200 to win about 167, I believe, and that'll take us back over the 5K, and we'll get ready for a big weekend. A couple of plays up in Europa League for me this afternoon, and then 2 plays up in the NHL. 2-0 sweep for my clients last night. It's been a good start to the NHL season. We're going to try and keep it going. So you can head over to my page. One day I'll access. We'll pick those all up, and I'll have an NFL play for tonight as well. Andrew, I'm going to send it over to you for a same game parlay. But before you do, for our man TJ Salvatore, who is a New Jersey Devils fan, and they play the Montreal Canadiens tonight, can you give us some quick thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Carm, we've got two quick games to mention. I will tell you, the Montreal Canadiens, I like the under in that game. And I hate to say it, but I actually think the Devils are the spot as well, going against my Montreal Canadiens. But the Habs gave up 3 goals in the first 3 minutes of their game against the Philadelphia Flyers. Defense will be the story. They talked about how poor their defensive effort was out the gate. They talked about their transition game not being good. I think defense is the way to go. The New Jersey Devils have actually owned the Canadiens, though, in series history, 5-1 their last 6. But a handful of those were defensive battles, and we know how good the Devils are as far as their forwards playing defense, and their goaltending right now has been pretty good as well. So I do lean towards the under, but I also like the New Jersey Devils, unfortunately. Just quickly here, we've got this comment. Why is Ottawa favored over Boston in Boston? Is it a trap or a sweet revenge? We've been seeing this comment quite a bit. I'll put my 2 cents here. I like the Ottawa Senators in this one. One of my biggest reasons for it is I love backing teams on rest. I backed the Capitals on rest yesterday. We're backing the Senators on rest today if you decide to play them. They have not played since Saturday, and they lost to their division rivals, the Canadiens, 4-3. I think it's a good spot to back the Senators despite some injury stuff going on there. No fancy graphic for you guys today, but we just have this to look at. This is plus 308. We want to get back in the win column. We won that 10-1 pick earlier in the week, and we haven't won a same-game parlay since. Speaking of Ottawa, let's go to Ottawa right now. Tim Stützle, anytime point. Drake Batherson, anytime point. Both guys on the top line. Both guys on the power play unit. Let's go to Sam Reinhart and Carter Verhaeghe, 2 second-line players for the Florida Panthers. Florida off a game where they got absolutely waxed by the Anaheim Ducks. They're going to be in bounce-back mode against the LA Kings. I don't really like LA's defense right now, and I don't like their defensive core whatsoever. I think these two guys will get on the score sheet. So shop around, guys. Find the best prices available. Plus 308. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to get 10-1, 20-1. Nice little plus 308. Same game parlay. 2 games, 4 picks. Let's cash these tickets. 2-0 night for me yesterday. Would have loved for it to be 3-0. We did have 1 push, so we'll move on to today. But looking forward to this card. I have 1 4% best bet. The rest of the plays will be 3% or 2%, but I'm feeling pretty good about this one. And make sure you guys are tuning in, whether it's live or afterwards. My new show, The Pre-Scout, 10 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we're going to have an every game on the board video for Saturday. We're breaking down videos, going over opening lines every single night. But on behalf of Carmine, Buster, and Bryan, all of you guys watching, we appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Hit that like button. We'll see you next time.